ASU says they want to activate the Valley, but it's not working. What's going on with that?
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Richie Bradshaw, your host, your guide, your expert for all things Sun Devils, from the gridiron to the hardwood and everything in between. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. On today's agenda, ASU cannot keep the hometown talent. They're not activating the Valley. What are possible solutions for this? When's it going to happen? How is it going to change the program? That's all coming up today. Before we get started, thanks to each and every single one of you for tuning into Locked On Sun Devils to make us your first listen of the day. And a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. So here's the thing. Kenny Dillingham gets to Arizona State in December of 2022. He says, we need to activate the Valley. We need to keep these hometown kids home. We need to really promote how important it is to build your program with the guys that are in your backyard, because that was something that the previous regime was not doing. Herm Edwards and Antonio Pierce, they started that way, but by the middle of their recruiting classes, I mean, they were borderline alienating these kids. Even Todd Graham had done that a little bit towards the end with how much emphasis he was putting on recruiting Texas. Now, is Texas a big deal? Yeah, Texas is a big deal. Ask Kenny Dillingham and his staff. Texas to Tempe. That movement is still really, really important to ASU, and they're funneling in a lot of great guys. It is important, but there's also massive intrinsic value to retaining the kids that are home, especially when the kids that are at home are some of the top players in the country. I mean, ASU really is, or ASU, the state of Arizona really is a very underrated hotspot for high school talent. They have a lot of very talented kids. That's got to change at some point for ASU to be able to recruit the hometown kids. But I mean, for next year's class, they have 3 commits, and we're pretty much done. 3-star safety Zeth Theus, who is number 12 in the class, and 3-star edge rusher Sine Tengel, who is number 25 in the class. When I give you those numbers, that is in-state rankings. That's in-state rankings moving forward for the remainder of this podcast. So again, Zeth Theus, number 12 in state, Sine Tengel, number 25 in the state. But they missed out on several big players they offered. 4-star corner Cameron Hamill is going to Texas A&M. 4-star quarterback Tait Reynolds is going to Clemson. Now, he was committed to ASU baseball at one point in time, but things change. 4-star receiver Devin Fitzgerald. It's not official, but Notre Dame is more than likely the location. 3-star athlete Dalen Sharper going to Stanford. 3-star defensive lineman Catrell Harris. ASU finished outside of his finalists. Same for 3-star cornerback Mason Lewis. That's a bummer, man. All of those kids I just named are top 10 recruits in the state. You missed out on 4 of them that you were really hoping you could keep home. And then 2 of the kids you didn't even finish as finalists for them in the state. By the way, Catron Harris, is his top 3 finalists include Arizona. That's a battle that Kenny Dillingham has said many times he does not want to lose, but nonetheless, that's happening. This year's recruiting class, this has been an ongoing issue. That's the whole point of why we're talking about this today. But it's not just this year. We have 2025 and 2024 as well. Let's try it again. I am not counting 2023 because Kenny Dillingham got here late. He had been hired in December. A lot of the decisions for 2023 recruits had already been decided. But 2025, they have 3-star receiver Uriah Nellums, number 20 in the state, and 3-star linebacker Tristan Bacon, number 23 in the state. 2024, which was by far their most successful year, they had 5 commits from the state. 3-star defensive lineman Ramar Williams, number 18. 3-star tight end James Giggy, number 31. 3-star cornerback Plas Johnson, number 33. 3-star punter Kenyon Floyd, number 54. And unranked lineman Connor Cameron. So it is important to keep the kids. And another thing I want to mention, and I'm going to mention this throughout the remainder of the podcast as well. It's not just about keeping the highest rated recruits in the state of Arizona. 5-star pass rusher Elijah Rushing from 2024. You missed out on him. That's a bummer. He was the top kid in the class, right? Logan Powell, a 4-star offensive tackle for this year's cycle. You missed him. 4-star safety Rylan Dillard-Allen. Super interesting situation. We'll talk about that later, but you missed out on him. 4-star wide receiver Cooper Perry, one of the guys that ASU was really in on. You missed out on him. So you are like right there, but you're not sealing the deal. And again, this was one of the problems that was really started to be created over the last several years. I wouldn't say a decade, but it kind of feels like a decade. It's the better part of a decade, that's for sure, because of Herm Edwards and Antonio Pierce just putting so much more emphasis on Southern Cal kids. And Todd Graham having such a keen interest in Texas. Again, Texas and California, hot spots for high school recruits in the country. It's not like they're going to places that have no one. They are looking at some of the places that have elite talents, and they have landed elite talents. I mean, Jaden Daniels was right about a 5-star recruit, one of the highest ASU has ever had. He was a California kid. Jaden Rashada, another 4-star quarterback, was also a California kid. They've landed several great players out of Texas as well, but you're losing a lot of kids in your backyard. Herm Edwards said that he had put a press on keeping Brock Purdy at home. Brock Purdy said, yeah, that's not true. I was not one of the priorities that they had. Now look at him, one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL, widely successful during his time at Iowa State. Mark Andrews left. Spencer Rattler left. I mean, there was a lot of in-state, very talented kids. Christian Kirk left that ASU didn't land for one reason or another. And that didn't used to be the case, which is one of the reasons why we get so frustrated that these kids don't stay home. Is there was a point in time, right, where staying home was something that was very valuable, very important, very special to Arizona high school kids. And it's just not there anymore. It doesn't have the prestige it once had. And ASU was landing top kids. Chase Lucas, DJ Foster are legends in the Valley. Foster's on staff. Chase Lucas is still in the NFL right now. So there was a point in time where they were recruiting kids in their backyard who were becoming fan favorites and guys that we are still talking about several years after they departed the program. It's important. It truly, truly is. Having that movement, the Activate the Valley movement, it's something that Kenny Dillingham expressed right out the gate, his opening press conference. Hey, I want to do this. We got to activate the Valley. We got to keep these kids home. Kenny understands the assignment. So from there, it's just about getting to that point. Now, unfortunately, it hasn't worked yet. You're talking about 3 cycles, 2024, 2025, 2026. They have landed just as of right now, seven kids between 2024 and 2025, and then 2 kids in 2026. So less than 10 kids in 3 cycles. And there's been a ton of very, very talented kids who have left the state, and you have not landed any kids that are in the top 10 in state for these kids. I understand it's not easy to do. And I understand that ASU is really trying to repair its image, but it's still frustrating to see, especially when ASU has had such an emphasis thus far on trying to hold on to the local kids. What is going to change that? I don't really know. But I do know that ASU has a plan. That's coming up next. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let's talk about our friends over at FanDuel now. Summer sports are in full swing. Whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, high-stakes soccer action, whatever it might be, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. You're already following the action, so why not make it more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned on the beach or at Lake Pleasant, since, Arizona doesn't really have those opportunities. I've been using FanDuel for a long, long time, and you better believe that I'm still using it, especially with how bad my Arizona Diamondbacks are this year. The app keeps everything fresh. There's daily promotions. There's fun ways to bet. It's easy to use. There's fast payouts. Every regular season game feels like a must watch. When I am placing my same game parlay, whether I am watching a bet ride into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes me feel like I'm part of the action. And the best part is they have a widget to help me track all of those going on. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open a FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Thanks as always for tuning in to Locked On Sun Devils to make us your first listen of the day. Shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. How do you keep the hometown kids home? It's very important for this program to get that done because it was once something that ASU did at a very high rate. And again, the state of Arizona with their high school sports, particularly in football, is pretty darn good. I mean, there's a lot of talented kids who are having impacts in college football now, who were highly recruited in general when they were coming out of high school and are now having successful careers in the NFL. And a lot of them are not going to ASU over the last 10 plus years. So you have Kenny Dillingham who comes in and he says, hey, we're going to activate the Valley. We're going to keep the kids home. It's not working so far. Okay, well, what do we do? How do we change that? Introducing the golden ticket. ASU coaches were really starting to promote on social media this idea of a golden ticket. And it's exactly what it sounds like, Willy Wonka style. The idea here is it is only available for the top prospects in state that are chosen by Arizona State. So you can look at the rankings on 24/7. You can look at the rankings that are on Rivals, on 3, ESPN, whatever. That's not the way that it works for Arizona State. They're offering the tickets to the kids that they feel are the biggest priority. We'll talk about that in a second. But something important to remember. So if you watch Willy Wonka, and I really hope you did, because was it my generation? No, it was from the 70s or 80s, something like that. But that was still a staple of my childhood, born in 1995. Fantastic movie, terrifying scene with the boat. But watch it for yourself if you haven't. But the biggest premise of Willy Wonka is that these golden tickets are limited. I can't remember. I think there were 6 golden tickets in the movie, and there are 6 golden tickets that are offered by Arizona State University to the hometown kids. And again, it's not just the top-ranked kids according to a ranking website. In fact, honestly, it may not be the top kids according to ASU's board, I guess. I'm not sure how they would justify, call terminology, whatever it is to get the top kids. It's not a draft board, I think. I don't know. But the idea, again, it's promoting the emphasis, the keen interest that Arizona State University has in keeping you home. Not every kid gets one. There's only 6. So you receive that golden ticket. The idea is that this is a special privilege. This is special, one-of-a-kind recognition from the hometown school. That's not nothing. They want to show these kids, hey, we really, really like you. We don't want you to go anywhere. We want you to know that not only are you an in-state kid, and not only do we view you as someone who we want to keep around for this Activate the Valley movement, but you are one of the kids that we have a very, very, very high priority in retaining. That's something that gets a kid's attention, right? No matter what school you're at, if you're a kid who's going around the country and getting offers, you're 3-star, you're 5-star, whatever, you have a program that tells you, hey, we're all in. Like, we will do whatever it takes to land you. We want you here. We want you to be a blank, a university team name player. We want you here. We need you here. You hear that as a kid, you're like, oh, wow, that's so cool. I do want to go to blank university and be a team name mascot. That's something that really speaks out to a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. ASU is now trying to do that. This year's recipients, or I should say future recipients. So this is for the 2027 class. This is the introduction, the debut season for the golden ticket. So in 2027, ASU has offered a ticket to 4-star running back Noah Roberts, who is one of the top recruits in the country. I've seen him teetering on 5-star status and one of the top running backs. 4-star offensive tackle Jake Hildebrand, 3-star wide receiver Zarek Sidney, 3-star athlete Jay Jones, 3-star offensive tackle Benjamin Lothar, and 3-star quarterback Cale Snyder. Now, look at some of those guys. Noah Roberts, number 1 in the state, no surprise. Jake Hildebrand, number 3 in state, no surprise. But Richie, where's number 2? We'll get there. 3-star receiver Zarek Sidney, number 4. 3-star athlete Jay Jones, number 7. Richie, what happened to number 5, number 6? We'll talk about that. 3-star offensive tackle Benjamin Lothar, number 11. Hold on, Richie, there's a huge break there. I know, we're going to get to that. And 3-star quarterback Cale Snyder. I had number 11. That's not right. That's a typo, and I don't have it in front of me to see where I messed up. There is emphasis on keeping guys home despite perceived rankings. So it's not a 24/7. It's not a Rivals. It's not ESPN. It's not On3. It's not your personal ranking. It's ASU's ranking. And again, as far as we know, it may not even be based on their own ranking. It may simply be based on, hey, we want this kid. We need this kid. This is someone that is going to be one of the building blocks, one of the future faces of Arizona State University Sun Devils football. That's what you're looking at here. Because, an example, Richie, where's number 2? Don't get me wrong, I'm asking the same thing. You would think that Arizona State is offering pretty much every kid, when you want to activate the Valley, keep every single kid home. That's not the case, and that's not a bad thing, because they just may not fit what ASU wants. But number 2, 4-star receiver Dante Tyson currently doesn't even have an offer from ASU. That can change. I feel like it will, but we don't know. ASU wants to keep home the hometown kids, sure, but there's still a priority on keeping the kids that fit what they want. So who knows? Maybe Dante Tyson isn't quite what ASU is putting an emphasis and a value on. At least it's not for the golden ticket, because there's still guys that ASU's offering. They've still extended offers to 4-star receiver Jaden Baldwin, 3-star corner Michael Davis, 3-star wide receiver Braylon Casper, 3-star wide receiver Mekhi Hodge, 3-star corner Nasir Eason, 3-star athlete Ryder Nache. You have 12 offers currently. I imagine that will change, but not every single one of them got that offer. In fact, number 2, Dante Tyson, not even an offer, period. Jaden Baldwin is number 5. Michael Davis is number 6. Braylon Casper is number 8. There's rounding out your top 10. ASU didn't offer all of them a golden ticket. That's something worth noting, because maybe just throwing a name out, maybe 3-star quarterback Cale Snyder isn't being recruited by the biggest the biggest programs in the country. Maybe that changes, but as of right now, ASU says not only do we want you here, but we need you here. You're one of the guys. It's not about perceived ranking wherever you're looking or your personal ranking. It's about the priority for how ASU wants these kids to view themselves. It's about the fact that you want them to stay home. So what are you going to do? You're going to make them feel wanted. That's the thing that I love so much about the idea of this golden ticket. But right now, that's all it is. It's an idea. It's a theory, a football theory. Can this happen? Will it happen? And if it does, how does it change the program? That's coming up next. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You guys are the best, as always, for tuning into Locked On Sun Devils to make us your first listen of the day. And shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Here's the thing. This is all in theory. We are not 100% guaranteed to have this work. But it is a great pitch. These kids see this and they go, okay, ASU really wants me to stay home. But does it mean that other kids may see that and go, wow, ASU doesn't have as high a priority on me? Well, it could. But again, that's not the point of the golden ticket. The point of the golden ticket is to promote that ASU has a very high interest and it's limited amount. It's limited. There's only 6. ASU can't hand out 20 golden tickets. There's no value in that. There's only 6. It's only 6, Willy Wonka style. What are those kids doing? They are going to the candy store and they're buying dozens and dozens of Willy Wonka chocolate bars. They want that golden ticket. They want to go to the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. That's the thing they want. It speaks to the kids who love candy. It speaks to the kids who want to feel special. That's what ASU is trying to do here. But it doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagination that that's going to work. But it is a great opportunity. And it is something that should, hopefully will, catch the attention of these kids to want to stay home. Your hope is all the way in 2027. So that's the earliest that we could see this happen. It's the inaugural year of it. And unfortunately, in 2024, 2025, and 2026, you had very minimal success. Now, something I want to point out. The kids you landed, this has nothing to do. This has nothing to do with whether or not they're the best kids in state. That's never the case in any recruiting status, whether it's Texas, California, Georgia, Florida, Montana. It doesn't matter whether you're the number 1 kid in state or whether you're the number 100 kid in state. At the end of the day, if the team gives you an offer, you commit to the program, they want you there. So this is no disrespect to those guys I mentioned earlier that weren't in the top 10, that weren't in the top 15, that weren't in the top 20, top 30 in state. That's not the point of this. The point is to keep the kids home. And you want to keep the top kids too. Obviously. You're not just going to Texas and being like, we'll settle for top 100. No, you're going for the top kids. But you're also trying to say, hey, some of you guys, we really want you here. We need you here. And that speaks to the kids. But again, it hasn't worked so far. 3 cycles. I am not counting 2023, just to emphasize that. Kenny Dillingham got here late. Majority of 2023 was already committed. And he still managed to have a pretty decent class, all things considered. But his cycles that I would count, 24, 25, 26, minimal success in state. They've been in on some guys. I do want to emphasize that. It's not like ASU is completely out of it for some of the top recruits in the state. I mentioned 5-star edge rusher Yeah, five-star edge rusher oh my goodness, Elijah Rushing. There we go. ASU put a full court press on him. Just didn't work out. They were very strong contenders last cycle, 2024, for four-star receiver Cooper Perry. In fact, they were more than likely in the top two right up until the end. The final dagger was when Rashad Samples, then ASU's wide receiver coach, went to Oregon. And then Cooper Perry committed to Oregon, and Elijah Badger decommitted, entered the transfer portal not long after. I don't think that was a coincidence. So they're right there. Ryland Dillard-Allen, that I mentioned earlier, that was a very interesting situation. Four-star safety, he was committed to Arizona State. That changed very quickly because Ryland wanted to take more visits. We talked about this on yesterday's show. So if you want more of my opinions about ASU's policy as far as you take no more visits after you commit, I highly suggest you check that episode out, make that your second listen of the day. But he decommits. So you're in the hunt for keeping the local kids home, but it's not there yet. And there's a lot of kids that just aren't looking to stay home. It's just not there. This upcoming cycle, 2026, they're losing out on Cameron Hamill. They're losing out on Dalen Sharper. They're losing out on Devin Fitzgerald. That sucks. But you're hoping to get there. And you're hoping that this golden ticket is what gets you there. The question you have after that, I know, is how is it changing the program? Like, is this really what's going to be what gets ASU back on the map? Maybe not. But there's a lot of value in it. I've said that all episode, and I will continue to say it as we round out this show. ASU, again, is a terrific in-state high school producer across the country. Are they Texas? No. Are they California? No. Are they Florida? No. They're in the top 10, for sure. There's a lot of very talented kids that ASU is missing out on right now. Now, they also came in with other identities. The Texas to Tempe, that's working, that's successful. Polynesian Pipeline, that's working, that's successful. Activate the Valley, it's not there. At least not yet. And you're hoping that that changes. You're hoping that the perception and the golden ticket and more success and more emphasis on these kids, whatever it takes to keep them home. You're hoping that it revives what was once a massive strength of the program. I mentioned Chase Lucas earlier. I mentioned DJ Foster earlier. Terrell Suggs, one of the greatest players in Arizona State history, was also a local kid. I mean, you could rattle off so many guys that were local and had great impacts for the program. Some of the best kids for the program stayed home. So there is a lot of value here. And it is something that could help change the program. You came in with priorities, none bigger than Activate the Valley. It's not there yet. I do think there's been movement and improvement, but it's not there yet. And your boy Richie Bradshaw is not a moral victories guy. No, that's not for me. I don't believe in moral victories. You win or you lose. You can take positives out of things, but there are no moral victories. So ASU not activating the Valley, that's a failure so far. But you're hoping that you're going to be able to get there. Because ASU wants to keep the hometown kids. They want, Kenny Dillingham has said, be the local hero, be the local legend. There's intrinsic value in that. That speaks to kids. It's not landing. It's just not there. You're hoping it changes soon. It continues to be a massive, massive priority for this new regime. ASU is trying to put their best step forward right now. You're waiting for it to kick in. 2027, that's the earliest opportunity. Is it going to work? I don't know, but you're hoping that that's going to be the case. What do you guys think of ASU's brand new golden ticket? Who are you hoping to keep in the 2027 cycle? Let me know in the comments. You can hit me up on Twitter at Richie Bradshaw36. The podcast is there at LO_Sun Devils. Wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on notifications. You'll get an update whenever we post new content. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in to Locked On Sun Devils and making us your first listen of the day. A shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. We still have plenty of conversations to talk about with recruiting. There's all sorts of content that we're going to talk about from people around the country. And the one and only Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12 will be joining very, very soon. Hopefully by tomorrow. But we'll see him when we see him. I'll talk to you guys later. And until then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.